Now, Kevin, you not only write books, edit books, you also review books. And I think, Kevin, in our generation, no book reviewer has made more important contributions than you have.
I thought you were going
Why?
to say enemies.
No, also that. But those two things tend to go hand in hand, book
Yeah.
reviews. Why do you spend time carefully critiquing books, a wide variety of books, with which you disagree?
There's been no master plan to say, how about once a year I do something that makes a lot of people upset? It's much more, the madness is much more organic than that. From it, all of these are born in some way out of pastoral ministry, whether the people are talking about the particular books. So I did a review of Beth Allison Barr's book. I did a review, years ago of Rob Bell's book.
Yeah.
I did Rob Bell because I was living where Rob Bell grew up. Rob Bell was ministering where I grew up.
Right.
He was born in Lansing and I was born in Grand Rapids. Flip places. We're about an hour down the road from each other. Literally, there was not a single person in my church who did not know someone at Mars Hill.
Yeah.
This was not just picking a fight to pick a fight. These were real people in my congregation we're so old now, Collin. For all the young kids out there, you don't know what a big deal Rob Bell was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably a parallel today. I'm not saying in all theology. John Mark Comer would come somewhat close, maybe in terms of book sales, but not all the videos and the church. Maybe church.
Yes, and I think what's different, and I think a lot of people do like John Mark Comer, but I think he still overlaps lightly with our circles.
Yeah,
or at least more lightly than Rob Bell did.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. That it seemed like before Bell took this turn, it was like, okay, that's not exactly the same, but there weren't as many, maybe circles or tribes at that time. So all that to say that the various books that it really takes a long time. You know this. You're an editor.
That's why I'm asking. Why do you spend the time? It takes a lot of time. It's largely thankless because it makes you a lot of enemies and people who already agree with you in some ways agree with you and are appreciative, but it doesn't exactly build your brand.
Yeah. And I hope that has never been my intention and wouldn't be to say, I never want to be, and I hope others aren't, I want to build a brand by knocking down other people's brand.
Yeah.
All of those things were because I saw concerns, and they do. It takes weeks, not nonstop, but really it takes weeks, dozens and dozens of hours to read it carefully, to have it edited by friends, and lots of people go through it. And it's I try to discern, okay, I'm not going to convince the people who think this is the greatest book and think Kevin DeYoung's a moron. The people who already read Kevin's books and think they probably don't need it. So it's discerning, with any particular book like this, is there a pretty significant middle ground where people are saying, I kind of like this, but something doesn't sit right with me, or
but I can't put my finger on it.
I can't put my finger on it, or I really like this, but I'm not sure why. Yeah, that's where I feel like if there's that middle ground, and when you're younger, there's a temptation to punch a lot and go after people. Hopefully I didn't do that, but there's a temptation because that builds your platform. I think, Collin, there's a temptation as we get older. There's some wisdom not to do that, but there's also a temptation to play it safe. You have absolutely. You have more things. You have more people depending on you.
More to lose.
More to lose. Mm-hmm. And some of that is wisdom. You have a different place in different constituencies, and you don't need to be a brawler in the same way. And yet, I hope, so I'm not out there saying which book will it be this year, but I hope if there's something that seems to be a real concern for people I know and people out there, that I wouldn't be afraid to try to read and write carefully.